crunched some numbers just to see how much $315 million actually was, because it just seems like an incredible amount of money to me. $315 million. We're going to go to build a torture chamber, a ministry of love. Right now, there's human rights violations. People are dying in jail. How many more people are going to die in jail? How many more people are going to get tortured in the ministry of love? This jail is going to be right next to the Dennis Mays Judicial Center. So, God, once they nab you, you can be disappeared. You can be disappeared. So, you know, that's on you. You want to vote in favor of something that $315 million, $315 million. And this is a county jail. The county doesn't even let the city use the jail for shoplifters. Is the county going to let the city use the jail for, you know, when we get this new jail for whatever, for shoplifters or anybody else? Or are they still going to play us like we're fucking idiots? The county doesn't like the city. I'll give you how oppressors act, okay? So you had this big-ass fucking redneck with a big old fucking pickup truck, and he's just driving, you know, 45 miles an hour down 35-mile-per-hour road. Just flying, just going super fast. Well, then he gets right up on my bumper like he's trying to push me to go farther, to go faster. He's an oppressor. A tailgater is an oppressor. Now, because I feel the motherfucker bearing down on me, I don't like it. So I let off my gas, and I just keep getting slower and slower. So this only happened in a matter of a few seconds, but as soon as he realized I was getting slower and slower, he got pissed off, and then he drives off into the parking lot in front of a strip mall and, you know, trying to cut me off kind of like, you know, to turn to the right. So he's driving on the parking lot to try to, you know, get out, not in front of me because I'm not turning that way, but he wants to hurry up and make that right-hand turn. So that's an oppressor. You know, if I can't fucking oppress you, then fuck you. You know, they get all. There's so many people around here. When I drive in the city, I prefer driving 5 to 10 miles an hour. The worst thing in the world would be for some kid to pop out and that big-ass truck, redneck motherfucker, he didn't give a shit if some little toddler popped out. He need to hurry up and get to his destination 10 cents faster or 10 seconds faster. He need to get there 10 seconds faster, so he chanced everybody's life. He's driving through a parking lot with a big, you know, lots of strip mall, and I'm staring. I'm like, God, you want to get to this place so much. You're such an oppressive piece of shit. You're willing to possibly wreck into people. He's saving 10 seconds. But this is a bully. This is an oppressor. This is a redneck driving into our city, not giving a goddamn about our kids, driving super fucking fast. This is bullshit. They don't respect us. They don't give a shit about us, and now they want us to spend $315 million to lock us in their jail? Fuck you, county. Fuck you. $315 million. $315 million for more mysterious deaths, more staph infections, more jailer raping. Talk about a rapist culture. How many people, you guys, that's all you all want, right? To catch a bunch of homeless people and rape the shit out of them? We need to give more fodder for these criminal rapist jailers. The jailers are oppressors by trade. That's kind of like in a slaughterhouse. They're going to lose their mentality. They're going to lose their humanity after a duration. So we got to be careful about that. Really? I mean, jailers, isn't that what it's all about? You're going to get, you know, some homeless people to rape. That's why we're going to spend $315 million so that way the jailers can have all the homeless people in the world that they can so they can rape the shit out of them. That's fucking great. That's what we got right now. We got lots of homeless people, lots of nonviolent offenders, lots of petty drug possession crimes, and other petty bullshit. In fact, right now they said 70% of the people that's in the jail right now have 70% of those in the county jail right now had not been charged with a crime, according to the article about this. 70%. What the fuck? What the fuck? Why is there 70% of the people that's in our jail has not been charged with a crime yet? You know, that is not quick justice. We're supposed to have a quick and speedy trial. So we're accusing people of committing crimes, and then they're just sitting in there for fucking years. I mean, for petty drug possession, for being homeless, for being poor, failure to appear for some stupid-ass ticket you could barely afford anyways. That's what the fuck they're going to do. They're going to make the pain, the struggle of being working class even worse. This is the solution to Pueblo City's problems. This is what the county thinks. The county thinks the solution to Pueblo City's problems, don't build housing, don't, you know, help people whatsoever. Build a big old ministry of love where there's going to be torture and rape and murder. That's the solution. What do we get out of it? The entire economy is based upon the GDP, producing stuff that can be sold, services and products that can be sold. What's this service? You know, this jail isn't going to build any GDP. No GDP The teachers, cops, jails, they do not produce anything that adds to the GDP. So they don't help the economy whatsoever. So we're just going to throw all this fucking $315 million. We're going to pay for all those employees, all those oppressors who are oppressed by trade for personnel costs for their health care, making sure these rapist jailers have great livelihoods. And they're just going to, basically more human rights abuses, more torture, and then, of course, the rape and the murder. But who gives a shit, right? That's what Pueblo City, the county thinks Pueblo City needs, a county jail to rape us all. Now, cough up that $315 million, Pueblo City. The county needs a jail for themselves, and they want you to pay for it so they can throw your dumb ass in that. Other tax measures on the ballot, and never forget that the sales tax is a regressive tax. That's a tax on the working class. It's a tax on the working class, on the working families of Pueblo City. So you have $315 million, and I went ahead and compiled some numbers here, and, there's lots of things that I think Pueblo City needs. So this would just be an alternative thing that we could have done with the $315 million. So we have a homeless problem, right? Let's assume what? I assume there's 3,000 homeless people. So we got about 3,000 homeless people. They need houses. We could start building houses. That's way less than $315 million. Trash incineration. We can, eliminate 87% of all of our trash. So we're not just throwing it into the ground and letting all that methane. Methane is worse than carbon dioxide. So landfills are worse than incinerators. You care about global warming? No, you don't. That's why you let these landfills just emanate all that fucking methane. Solar trees, they're actually pretty expensive, but they're about $30,000 to $60,000, average $45,000. So to get one solar tree would be $45,000. So we could get some solar trees, we could get some cheap housing for the homeless, we could get a trash incinerator. A trash incinerator would make money, and it would make electricity, and it would get rid of the trash. So we would solve our trash problem. It helps with our electricity problems, and it makes money. So that's an investment that we could get a return on it. How much do you think we're going to get back from this $315 million investment? You think we're going to get anything back from it? What, just peace of mind and safety? Yeah, unless you're the one that's kidnapped and you're the one that's being raped, not because you're a criminal, but because you live in this fucking city that don't give two fucks about you, and they want to just, they throw your ass in jail because you got to pay the jailers, you got to pay the lawyers, you got to pay the judges. I mean, there's an entire white-collar criminal class that needs to be paid, right? And in this here, Massa Auto Sales, this little advertiser thing here, Massa Auto Sales, and then there's 4 cars here that I just got an average, just to get an average of what a decent used car, a good used car would cost. There was an 03 Ford Escort. It was the cheapest one, $2,500. 04 Dodge Ram, $1,500. $9,000. 09 Chevy Colorado, $8,500. And then an 06 Chevy Impala, $7,000. When you add them all up, divide by 4, that's about $6,745. Okay, so if we were to assume that all these used cars cost $6,745, so a good brand new used car, we were to use $315 million, we would buy 46,701 cars. And that's 44% of the total population. So 44% of the people in Pueblo City would get themselves a nice used car if we use it. This is America, and with suburbia, with a suburban sprawl, you can't do anything without a car, so a car is almost a necessity. But let's go with food, water, clothing, shelter, and then a car, right? So that's a little superfluous, but 44%. With $315 million, we could go ahead and buy 44% of Pueblo citizens a nice used car so they could get to where they're going and go here and go there. That would be a good investment in the people. We're investing in the people. We're not going ahead and build them a fucking torture chamber for them all. We're actually investing in the people. So that's 47,000 cars. The population is 107,000. 44% would all have cars if we were to buy cars for everybody, just theoretically, $315 million. Okay, so that's cars. That's probably not feasible. A lot of people socialize, vehicles or something. People will bitch about that. But let's go to the city services that we have. This trash to electricity, it's actually waste to energy because they could take a human shit, cow shit, pig shit, and they could turn electricity out of anything, really. But a trash incinerator itself, we could get one trash incinerator for $60,000. So we can buy 5,250 trash incinerators. We can have over 5,000 trash incinerators, which would, convert our trash and turn it into electricity. Now, I looked at Grand Junction, and their facility costs $3 million. Grand Junction has a waste-to-electricity facility, and it costs them $3 million, and they expect to get a return on their investment in only 7 years. So it'll pay for itself in 7 years, just like these solar trees, and then just like the contour crafting machine. So $3 million for a plant. How many plants could we get? We could get 105 waste-to-energy factories. $315 million could get Pueblo City. 105 waste-to-energy plants. 105. Let's compare that to the world. We have 86 waste-to-energy factories right now in the United States. Sweden itself has 32. Sweden is the hallmark. It's the ideal standard. So the gold standard, right? So when it comes to Sweden, there's 32 facilities, waste-to-energy facilities, and then there's 86 waste-to-energy facilities in the United States. If we were to get the same facility that Grand Junction has, we could get 105 facilities. That's more than all of America. That's 3 times as many as Sweden has. I mean, this would be an incredible investment, too. We would be buying trash not just from Denver and from Colorado Springs and Boulder, but from Arizona, New Mexico, California, Texas. All these damn states would be sending their trash to us, and we would make bank do with 5,000 trash incinerators, right? We're just going to give everybody a trash incinerators, 105 plants. 105 plants. Instead, do you want one jail or do you want 105 plants, which will turn us to a recycling, to a green reuse, reduce, recycle, and recover kind of culture? That's the kind of culture that Pueblo City needs to be in. So we're not going to get 105 plants, right? The entire United States has 86 of them, so I don't see us getting 105 plants, but why can't we just get, 3 of them? Let's get 3 waste-to-energy plants. That costs $9 million. We just gave $3 million to the L3 aviation people, so some private company just got $3 fucking million so they could begin their training program for pilots. So $3 million for pilots or $3 million for a waste-to-energy facility. Let's carry on. Let's go with the solar trees, right? I think 100 solar trees is really all we need, but $45,000 per solar tree. This is from Spotlight Solar, and it's a decent one. It's a good one. So $45,000 per solar trees. That would get us 7,000 solar trees for Pueblo City. If we spent $315 million for these solar trees, we would have 7,000 solar trees. 7,000 solar trees all over the place producing free electricity. This will pay for itself easily, quickly. Solar tree, once it's built, once it's constructed, then it just soaks in all that sunlight and creates energy for, the world. 7,000 solar trees. I would be happy with just one solar tree. I was like, Tommy, please, just one solar tree. But let's 100 solar trees, right? 100 solar trees, that's 45,000, so $4.5 million. We still have $310 million left over. Investing exclusively in solar trees, we would get 7,000 solar trees with $315 million. If we were to invest in just the plants, waste-to-electricity plants, we would have 105 waste-to-energy plants. Now let's look at our housing problem. Let's look at this contour crafting idea. You can get a contour crafting machine for $200,000. $200,000, and then they produce a house for $10,000. It's a 3D printing machine, so you have this big machine that sort of prints. It's a program, and then it prints up a house within a day, and it's only $10,000 per house. So this is an incredible resource to build mass housing. You want to actually solve the homelessness. You want the crime rates to go down. People are desperate. When they don't have any shelter, you got to fix their shelter situation. That will make them less desperate because they actually got a safe place to go, a safe place where they have all their stuff and, is secure. If we were to go ahead and take, 5 contour crafting machines, that's $1 million. So we got 5 contour crafting machines, and then we would go ahead and we spend $10,000 per house. And we can build 31,400 houses. 31,400 houses. That's 30% of the people of Pueblo could get themselves a house with $315 million. 30% of Pueblo. There's lots of poor people, lots of homeless. We don't need 31,400. There's probably about 3,000 homeless, so we need just 10% of that. Just 10% of that. So we can buy plenty of contour crafting machines. We can produce lots of cheap housing if we actually truly give a shit. But let's be honest, you'd rather the homeless commit a crime so you can house them and feed them and shelter them in jail, especially you rapist jailers, because then you could rape the shit out of them on top of it, right? You're feeding them, you're clothing them, you're giving them shelter, and you get to rape them. That's really what you're all about. Contour crafting machines, they're $200,000 a piece. That's so fucking cheap. I didn't realize it was that damn cheap. I mean, compared to a city for a municipality. $315 million, we could actually buy over 1,500 contour crafting machines. We could have 1,500 contour crafting machines for $315 million. This is all the stuff that we could have if we exclusively just paid, for contour crafting machines. We'd have 1,500 of them if we just got 5, and then $10,000 per house. $10,000 per house. That's how cheap these contour crafting machines can build houses. We would have 31,400 houses. So we would actually house the homeless, and we would actually have housing for poor people if we all, instead of putting all this money into a facility which is going to shelter people anyways, and then let the rapists fucking jail it, we could actually get them homes. We actually get them houses, and we could attack this problem right at its root. When it comes to these big numbers, pay attention. $3 million can go to the L3 AVOS, whatever it is, that aviation thing. So $3 million can go to the L3 aviation private company, $3 million to help out with their pilot training program, $3 million. And then Pedco's got $60 million. Then Question 300, $35 million. And then the 24 cops is $18 million. My God, I mean, these are huge fucking numbers. 18 million, 35 million, 60 million, and then the jail is 315 million. The jail beats all these taxes. And then that enterprise, I don't even know how much that adds up to, and a fee is a tax, so we should have been told, what's going on there. Now, we're not going to buy a bunch of cars. We're not going to put all of our money just in housing or solar trees or trash incinerators. So let's just figure out how much it would cost just to get what we need, okay? So let's just get a couple trash incinerators, let's get some solar trees, and let's get some housing. How much do we actually need? 3,000 homeless people. Posada and Wayside isn't doing jack shit about that. They might house 100 to 200. So there's over 3,000 people that are homeless, including 1,000 kids. So we could just focus on the 1,000 kids. I expanded it to 3,000. That's probably a low estimate, but let's go with 3,000 homeless, okay? So we're going to build this big rock candy mountain in this acreage out in the county, and we'll get 5 machines, which is $1 million. So we're going to buy 5 contour crafting machines, the 3D printing machines. We're going to buy 5 of them. That's $1 million. So now we just have $314 million left over. So then to build 3,000 homes, that's going to cost us $30 million. So that's $31 million that we've spent so far, and we've solved the homelessness. We've already solved the homelessness problem with $31 million. That's less than Question 300. Question 300 wants a shit ton of cops to beat the shit out of your kids, and we could have solved homeless with Question and get ourselves 3 waste-to-electricity plants. So 3 waste-to-electricity plants like they have in Grand Junction. It costs $3 million a piece, so that's $9 million. So we got $31 million. We've solved the homelessness. We've got $9 million. We've go ahead and solved our trash problem, right? 87% of our trash is going to be eliminated, and we'll be able to make some money, and we'll be buying Denver's trash in no time. Then 100 solar trees. That seems modest, right? 100 solar trees just kind of strewn all about the city. That will be, people come here, tourists, and be like, God, they really know what the hell's going on. And at first, yeah, it'll look like we know what's going on. But $45,000 per solar tree times 100, that's $4.5 million. $4.5 million plus $9 million plus $31 million, that's $44.5 million. We still have $270.5 million left from the $315 million. That's not even, that's like, just take 15%, 15 to 20% of the cost of this godforsaken ministry of love, this torture chamber, this jailer rapist center, this just dark, the heart of darkness, right? If we're going to spend $315 million on that monstrosity, we could have just taken 20% of the $315 million. We could have solved homelessness. We would have solved homelessness, got 3,000 homes. We would have built 3,000 homes, and then we would still have 5 contour crafting machines, and then we would have 3 waste-to-electricity plants, which we would make money in 7 years. It would pay for itself. Solar trees, once it's been installed, it'll just produce electricity as long as the solar cells can hold up. So we've gotten solar trees, We got 3 waste-to-electricity plants, which we can get money from. That's an investment that we'll get profits back from. And we solved the homelessness. Instead of doing all that, let's just build a big old... I just solved our trash problems. I just solved the homelessness problems. And then when it comes to the solar trees, I just made this fucking city cool as fuck. You're going to have so many people coming here. We're going to be like Portland, but we're going to be Pueblo City. We're always going to be Pueblo. So we'll never be Portland. We'll never be Oakland. We'll never be any other city. We're Portland, or we're Pueblo. We are Pueblo. I like Portland, but we're Pueblo. And so, you know, the 100 solar trees, 3 waste-to-energy plants, and homelessness has been solved, and we still have $270 million left to spare. That $270 million, we could probably invest in a grocery store, right? In a grocery store over on the east side, $60 million in Pedco. They could pay for poster stores on Union Avenue, but they can't get us a grocery store. If I was to spend $315 million, I would make fucking Pueblo City cool as fuck. Instead, we're going to have a torture chamber, which is going to just